The Expert Series is brought to you by Draw It Paint, the dry erase paint company that allows you to create the exact space you want. Our products are designed for performance, engineered for durability, and manufactured for quality. Draw It Paint's 3 formulas will allow you to reach every possibility. Behold your best work.
All right, my name is Brandan Weatherspoon. I am a real estate agent with Exit Realty of Juneau and actually in Anchorage, Alaska. And I help buyers buy, sell, rent, and build homes all over the state of Alaska.
Now, how long have you been in Alaska?
I've only been in Alaska now for about 8 months. I moved here from Florida in February. Actually, at the very end of February, I got up here March 1st. And I've been here ever since.
Now, weather-wise, that's one of the most drastic jumps you can take, isn't it, from Florida to Alaska?
It actually is, but the thing is before I lived in Florida, I was born and raised in Chicago, Illinois. So it's a different kind of cold, but cold nonetheless.
For sure. What made you want to move to Florida and then Alaska?
Alaska was one of those goals. You know, my last name begins with W, and when you have those stupid things in class called, papers that you have to write, Alaska was like the very last state to take. So, of course, you're trying to do this research because everyone else can just spout stuff off like that. But the more I actually researched Alaska, the more I actually fell in love with it. So I think that happened in 3rd grade, and I just said, okay, one day I'm going to live in Alaska. How Florida happened was, well, it just happened. It was one of those things you go down on vacation one year, and before you know it, it's like, okay, this is nice. I can do this. And then it's hot, ungodly hot. Like, whew, I can't do that again.
No, I've never been to Florida, but I've been to places that have very humid heat. How was that, dealing with that from, the change from Chicago?
In the change from Chicago, I don't think it was as bad as far as temperature, because sometimes Chicago gets up to sometimes 102, 103. It's when you add in the humidity, which feels like it's almost 350 degrees. Pretty much you get out the shower and you pretty much got to take another shower as soon as you walk out the house because you're just dripping in sweat. And it's like, it makes you miserable.
I understand you were a truck driver in Florida for a little bit. What made you want to go into that career path?
My dad was actually a truck driver when I was young. He was a truck driver. He took me all over the country during summer breaks. So pretty much, wanting to be your father or wanting to be like your father, I'm sure every young man wants to be his father or just like his father. I wanted to do it too. Of course, he told me, no, don't do it. Go to electrical school, go to college, go to the military, do anything else. Just don't be a truck driver. And I didn't take his advice. And that's how I ended up in a truck for almost 14 years. But being a truck driver was one of those lifelong dreams, just like being a Marine was a lifelong dream. And I guess I'm one of the fortunate people that could say I accomplished it. I did it. I probably can't say I mastered it, but I could say I did it.
And did that kind of give you the opportunity to travel the U.S.?
Yes, it did. I've been almost every state. The only state I haven't been to, I think, is Maine.
What's your favorite state?
I don't think I want to go. What's my favorite?
Yeah.
I would say between between Oregon and Washington are my 2 favorites, because the eastern parts of the state are so beautiful, but the western parts are nightlife, good food, coffee, anything you want to do, especially Portland and Seattle. Those are two of my favorite places outside of Anchorage, Kenai, and Key West, Florida.
Now, you sound very well traveled, especially for the U.S. Do you think Alaska has kind of been, one of your long-term destinations or even permanent?
I think it's more of a permanent one. As far as I'm concerned, I don't see myself going, hey, you see it right here, home. I don't see myself going back to Florida, Chicago, or I would say if I went anywhere else, my next step would either be Hawaii, or I would probably go out of the country somewhere, like I have no clue, but so far this is home.
Now we'll talk a little bit more about Alaska and Juneau specifically later on in the interview, but I just wanted to ask you, what kind of activities do you like to do outside of work right now?
My biggest activity right now has been I've gotten back into exercise. I've gotten into a program called DDP Yoga. I'm really excelling in that right now. I used to wrestle back when I was in high school, not professional wrestling, but mat wrestling. And I'm starting to kind of get back into that. But I do, in a way, I got that little bit of an itch. Like I loved pro wrestling back in high school. I'm loving it now that there's so much of it on TV. And I kind of do want to get in the ring and just see, okay, what is it all about? Can I do it? Can I do it at 36 is the question. But, those are my activities. I also love cars. I've loved lowriders. I love trucks. I love mudding. Baking as of late, now that I'm off the road and I'm actually at home, have my kitchen, I can actually bake. I think I baked a cake last night and cupcakes and now I'm having to watch it because it's like, okay, you don't want to put the weight back on. So don't eat all this in one day. But, baking is starting to become one of those things. Working out's one of those things. Wrestling's one of those things. Yeah, those are really the big three right there.
Hmm. Now, I understand that, in high school and even post-secondary education, you have a lot of these opportunities to actually wrestle, right? Whether it's through the school or just maybe at lunch or during your breaks. Leaving education, is it difficult to find more wrestling opportunities, especially when it's to the mat and not like professional and WWE?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I know that the military has their teams. You have the All-Marine team and All-Navy team. But as far as, outside of that, unless you join like a wrestling club or a wrestling gym, it is pretty hard to find it. So, and by that time, I kind of gave up on it. I don't think I was good. My coaches said I was, so, so I didn't really pursue it. But now that I'm a little bit older and a little bit more patient, put that in quotations, patient, I think that, I'll give it another try, not really competitively, but more or less just to see if I can still do it.
I understand you're a big Seahawks fan too.
Yeah, pretty much.
What do you think of the season Russell Wilson's having?
Russell, you know what? He had I wouldn't even say he had a bad game against the Ravens, but I would say that if he's not the MVP this year, I would say that he should probably be number 2 or 3. I'm going to hope that we can at least make the NFC championship game. But if not, that's still my guy. I'm not like these Chicago fans and New York fans where, your team has a bad, game, fire that guy or trade him or bench him. Nah, you know what? Russell Wilson, he gave us a ring. He almost gave us 2 rings. So I'm going to hold on to my guy. I'm going to roll with my guy.
Yeah, it was sad news that you guys lost your tight end, too. He was having a good season.
Don't remind me, dude. Don't remind me.
I was going to bring up the controversial play call against the Patriots that one year, but I think I'll stay away from it.
Thank you, man. Don't make me cry during the interview. That's not fun. Yeah, and I don't even understand why they didn't let Marshawn Lynch run the ball. I don't know why, but nothing you could do about it at this point. Just, hey, we made it 2 years. I'm happy. I'm just happy with 1 ring at this point.
Yeah, definitely. I would be happy about any sort of wins. I mean, being from Edmonton, we only have the Oilers to really cheer for, and I guess our CFL team, the Edmonton Eskimos, but we haven't really tasted that championship glory in a little while. So I'm a little jealous that you've even gotten a taste. So.
Oh, you said Edmonton Oilers?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm so sorry, sir. I'm just really sorry. I'm a Blackhawks fan. I'm really sorry.
Are you a Bulls fan too, being from Chicago, or?
No, Portland Trail Blazers.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not one of those that's going to jump on the Golden State or LA Lakers or Clippers or Nets. I got a cousin that does that every year. I always joke with him, he's a Golden State Durant's fan. Now he's a Brooklyn Durant's fan. Like, dude, pick a team and stick with it. Now he's a Clippers fan. Like, dude, go on somewhere. Just sit down somewhere, But nah, I'm liking what Damian Lillard's doing right now. So I think he's going to carry that team probably to the finals. I hope he does.
Yeah, they've added a couple key pieces. It sucks that they lost Nurkic and a couple of those guys, but they still have pretty much the same team, right?
Yeah, pretty much. So I'm very confident they'll do it this year.
Mm-hmm. Now you talk a little bit about bandwagon fans and these people jumping from the Warriors to Brooklyn Nets, maybe even the LA Clippers now. When do you think society kind of lost this loyalty for their love of sports games?
You know what? I'm honestly going to say that I think people really started doing the whole bandwagon thing after, I would say really much after Michael Jordan retired. And, now you don't have this one guy, you don't have a monopoly. Now you have pretty much any team could win. Then all of a sudden, everyone started jumping to one team. Now you got Boston, that's a big team. Now you got Miami, that's a big team. Now you got LA, where all these stars are going to. Back when I was a fan, a true fan, when I grew up in Chicago, you knew the starting lineup of, let's say, the Chicago Bulls, of course, Indiana Pacers, New York Knicks, Boston Celtics, the Orlando Magic, Miami Heat. You knew everyone in your conference, and then you knew the guys from the top 8 of the Western Conference, because you're going to play one of those teams. So we knew who was on the Supersonics. Go figure. Nobody knows who the Supersonics is anymore, but you knew who everyone on the Trailblazers were, who everyone on the Jazz were, everyone. So I think most of it now is everyone likes one guy. Like, love him or hate him, LeBron. Love him or hate him, Durant. Love him or hate him, Kawhi Leonard. And they're a fan of that guy, so they go wherever he goes. So everyone was a Golden State Warriors fan. Now all of a sudden, everyone is a Brooklyn Nets fan. Okay, now everyone wants to be a Clippers fan. Why you want to be a Clippers fan? I got no clue, because the Clippers suck. Okay, they have done nothing in the NBA, nothing. So that's just my theory.
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot of weird people out there that have some trust issues with certain teams. So whenever another team gets better, they kind of just want to jump ship, right?
I think there's just a lot of weird people out there, period.
Yeah. Now, you've talked a little bit about your interests and hobbies, and beginning your career as a little bit as a truck driver, and now, of course, you're a real estate agent. What got you into real estate?
You know what? My mother actually got me into real estate because she was an interior designer. And, her main thing was kitchens and bathrooms. And the one thing I always loved doing was going to work with her, designing kitchens, watching her design kitchens, watching her clients come in. Back in Chicago, there's this place called the Merchandise Mart. It's right on Chicago River. And you walk in there, your imagination will just run wild, because you got all kinds of design shops, you got all kinds of designers. It's just, you walk into the place and you're just overwhelmed. It's like sensory overload of just the imagination. So from there, buying my first 2 houses is what really set me in motion to being in real estate, because, you always get the first guy who, I won't say he was horrible, but I would say he was horrible. And then the second person who she really sat down, she really taught me everything she knew about real estate, even though I had no interest in real estate. Well, not say I didn't have an interest, but I didn't have the want to do it at that moment. I really didn't have the want to do it until probably about a year before I got divorced. When I brought it to my ex-wife, she pretty much shot it down because it was stupid or whatever. I don't know what the problem was. But after the divorce, I got into real estate school. I said, you know what? I'm going to make this work. And the tipping point for me, what got me into real estate was a truck driver, been with the same company for about 8 years. And I went to my boss, told the boss, hey, listen, I've been here about 6 years. Can I please get a pay raise? The boss pretty much told me either go back over the road, drive all 48 states, or quit. I got my real estate license. A month later, I was out the truck for good because nobody is ever going to tell me again, I'm not good enough for a raise. That's just how it happened.
Right. And you talk a little bit about how your parents have had such a big impact on your career choices. Can you talk about maybe other mentors that you've had in the past throughout your career that have really made an impact on where you are today?
Other mentors, I would say one of my biggest mentors in real estate is a guy by the name of Shawn J. Miles. He does a lot of YouTube videos, and I can tell you one thing about that man. That man has been from the bottom of real estate to the very top. Well, I won't say he's at the very top of it. He's not a Grant Cardone, but he has that potential. He has a lot of potential to do that. I would say another mentor of mine was actually from my old company, Carroll Former Logistics. His name is Jason. Jason was actually my dispatcher, but I swear to you, that man was hard on me because he wanted me just to live up to my full potential. So, Jason, if you're actually watching this, thank you, man. Thank you for everything. A couple more of my mentors was my senior drill instructor in the Marine Corps. That man pretty much put me through hell. But I can tell you the reason he put me through hell is because he didn't want me to be just another person who flunks out of boot camp, goes home, and sits on the couch and feels sorry for himself. So, hey, I don't think he's going to see this either, but thank you, man. So those are actually my three biggest mentors in my life.
You have your own kind of personal brand with the Semper Fi Home Guy. Am I pronouncing it right?
Yeah, Semper Fi Home Guy.
What is that exactly?
Okay, so this is a real backstory right here. So Semper Fi Home Guy didn't actually start out as the Semper Fi Home Guy. It actually started out as the Ruthless Aggression Home Guy. And he was supposed to be it was pretty much just a character where he was an ex-wrestler, ex-Marine, and, he was just mad because, other guys like John Cena and CM Punk, they made it and he didn't. And now he's a lawn care guy and a real estate agent. And, when anyone mentions like someone else doing something so great in wrestling, he just gets like this tick to him where it's like, he gets angry. But as I went on, I kind of realized that's not going to work. You can't get that kind of a character over in real estate because some things don't translate. But I was a Marine and people can identify with veterans. So that's when it switched from more of an angry guy to more of a veteran kind of type person. But that character is really more of like a Hulk Hogan mixed with John Cena, mixed with Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and pretty much that's what he is on Instagram. Behind the scenes, Semper Fi Home Guy is more of a caring kind of person. He's more of a nurturer. He's hard on you and he's hard on others, but he's only hard on you because he wants you to be the best. He wants you to have the best in life. He wants you to have the luxuries you want, no matter what it takes. He's going to push you to that finish line. That's who Semper Fi Home Guy is.
Is the Semper Fi Home Guy kind of a reflection of who you are?
I would say it is. Semper Fi Home Guy is based. He's kind of like B Rabbit in. This is embarrassing. 8 Mile. It's based on me, but then it mixes a couple other characters into it. So yeah, he is me, but then again, he's also my senior drill instructor. He's also some of my first sergeants I've had over the years. He's a couple people mixed into one, but I take all of that because there's a saying, if you like something I did, take the page out of my book, and use it for your own, make it your own. So that's the reason why it is based on me, but not because even though it is me, it's also based on things I've learned from other people, not just in the military, but also in real estate, also in truck driving, also in my another hobby of lawn care and gardening. All of that is mixed into one. So that's who Semper Fi Home Guy is.
What do you think his intro music would be like?
His intro music will either be Highway to Hell, Cult of Personality by Living Color. Every once in a while, embarrassing, but, the Triple H character, where he spits out the water. Sometimes I try that, and don't try that at the gym. You will get kicked off the treadmill. But I would probably say if he had it would probably have to be Cult of Personality.
No, I only ask because wrestling as a kid was a big part of my life. I watched every Monday, every Friday up until I was like 14 years old. So I definitely understand all these nods to these old characters.
Oh, well, listen, if you loved wrestling as a kid, you might want to get back in now. You got so much you got Raw on Monday, you got NWA on Tuesday, you got AEW and NXT on Wednesday, Friday, you got SmackDown. There's so much wrestling now that if you can't find something you like, maybe you don't like wrestling. Maybe it's just, the person, but there's something for everybody now.
Mm-hmm. Now, my favorite wrestler was HBK, Shawn Michaels. So I think ever since he left, I was kind of out of there too.
I got you. Yeah, I like Shawn Michaels. It's funny because when I talk about Shawn Michaels, you always got to break Shawn Michaels down into two. Do you like Shawn Michaels from, the 90s, or do you like Shawn Michaels after he came back from injury? Because those were two very different Shawn Michaels. One Shawn Michaels, who I don't think I could say what he was doing, but he was doing some extracurricular activities. The Shawn Michaels of the 2000s was the saved guy. He was the guy that found Christ. So you always got to kind of break down which Shawn Michaels you like.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely the 2000 Shawn Michaels, just because being Canadian, I like Bret the Hitman Hart too, and everyone knows the infamous screw job, right? So.
Oh yeah. I actually watched that night. That was a hard night to get through.
Looking back at it too, just from watching old videos, I'm like, how did that even happen?
I wondered that too, and I always wondered, was it real, or did he really know it wasn't going to happen, or was he in on it as well? Sometimes I think he was in on it, and he just doesn't want to say that. But either way, it was great. What came after it was a masterpiece.
Yep, I think it really propelled wrestling into what it is today. Is one of those moments of impact that really changed everything.
Oh yeah, I 100% agree with you.
Now, of course, you have the Semper Fi Home Guy as your own brand, and you have your Instagram account. How else do you kind of self promote your work?
Facebook. I do a lot of Facebook. I do a lot of Twitter. I have my own blog, which, drives a lot of people in. I may get, 7 or 8 leads a week from it, which some people say is not a lot, but, when you're new to an area and you're getting that kind of, turnover, I think that's pretty good. I do also partner with a company called Veterans United, They'll send me like 4 leads a week, which is amazing. Main thing is you got to get out there and you got to talk to people. I think that is the biggest thing in real estate. You can't be afraid to talk to people. You can't sit behind your computer and say the same things over and over and over again, because there's only so many times you can really say, hi, I'm a realtor. If you'd like to, buy, sell, lease, or build, give me a call, blah, 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 blah. No, you actually got to go out to where people are and talk to them. You got to get your face in front, because that's the biggest misconception about real estate, is that you get your real estate license and tomorrow you're going to have a show on HGTV showing 3 homes. And after you show the 3 homes, you're going to be blowing through a kitchen wall 30 minutes later. No, you got to actually get out there. You got to meet people. You got to find people that actually want to use you. You got to build trust in people. You got to build your name up to where when they're thinking, I want to buy a house, I want to sell my house, I want to rent an apartment, I want to rent a house, I want to buy this vacant lot, they think you. They think of coming to you.
A common theme we've had through interviewing these industry experts is a lot of goal setting that they do for themselves. Do you do this for, not just your career, but your personal life?
Personal life, yeah. The personal goals were, of course, get out the truck, which I did. Lose some of the weight that I gained when I was in the truck. I say I did, of course, business goals, grow the company, grow Semper Fi Home Guy from just being me to a team, and then from a team into its own brokerage. Will it still be Semper Fi Home Guy? Maybe not, because people think of me when they think of that. But I would probably name it something else having to do with military, or maybe I might switch it back to something having to do with wrestling. I have no clue, but it's always, you got to have those goals, whether it's, I want to make this much this year, or I want to generate this year, or I want to make enough to where I can give 20 veterans a fishing trip, whatever the goal is. And that goal actually doesn't just be a goal. That's your why. That's your why you're doing it. If you don't know why you're doing it, you're just doing it for no reason.
Now, it seems like you're quite passionate about the military. What motivated you to become a Marine?
One of those things of you're walking through a mall or you're walking through a store and you see, that Marine or you see that sailor and they got their dress blues on or their dress whites, and they're standing tall, looking all good and everything, spit shine shoes. I want to be that guy, because that is the guy that everyone's looking at, staring him up and down, staring her up and down, like that person's got it together. Now, sometimes they don't really have it together, but everyone is looking at that person. And it also teaches you a thing called structure in your life. Some people hold on to it, some people don't. Some people hold on to that motivation, some people don't. But I think the thing that really motivated me to go into the Marines is I really wanted that structure, because that's something you can take with you throughout the rest of your life, whether you're running a store, you're in real estate, whether you're working a 9-to-5 for somebody else. Having that kind of a structure really goes a long way. And plus, the benefits of the military really carry on for the rest of your life.
It's truly like a family or a brotherhood that you develop with all these co-Marines, isn't it?
Yes.
Do you think being a Marine has kind of defined who you are today?
I would say yes. And some people think it's a detriment because they only see the military part. But to me, if that's all I ever did in life, that's a great thing to do in life. There is no regret about it. Yes, my feet are a little messed up now. My back was messed up for a long time, but there is really no regret to that. So people, if you identify me with just military, thank you. because that is something amazing to identify anybody with. If you identify with me in real estate, you still do kind of identify with me in the military, because Semper Fi Home Guy. Who do you think Semper Fi is? When they think Semper Fi, they think United States Marine Corps military. So you're always going to come back to my military beginnings.
Now, I know being in the military isn't always going to be glamorous, right? You have these moments of adversity. Did getting through those moments within the military kind of prepare you for moments of adversity you'd have throughout your career and through your life?
The funny thing is the most adversity that you will, unless you deploy, I think the most adversity most people have is getting used to that structure of getting up in the morning and having to do things you probably never done before. Like most people don't climb ropes 3 times a week. Most people don't run ungodly amounts of miles every single week. It's something you got to get used to. If you hurt yourself, that's an adversity. If you get dropped from your platoon, that's an adversity. If you have to, PCS or transfer to another base, that is kind of an adversity, because if you've never transferred to another base, that is one of the hardest things. You're leaving people behind. You're going somewhere new. Now you got to fit in here. These people have probably been together 2, 3, 4 years. So you're the new guy, don't know anybody. And, me, people don't realize this about me, but I am actually a shy person. So it takes a lot for me to come out my shell. That's an adversity that you got to get over, and you got to learn how to get over it without alcohol or something else, which is another problem in the Marine Corps. But actually, that's a problem in the military altogether. But I would say sometimes the biggest adversity isn't anything that you're doing outside. Sometimes the biggest adversity you got to get over is within you.
When I first reached out to you, you actually posted an Instagram story, and you said maybe a few years ago you wouldn't have done something like this. But now you're a little bit different, and you're more comfortable with actually taking part in interviews like this. Why do you think it is so important for people to really leave their comfort zone and try new things?
I would say it like this. If you don't leave your comfort zone, how would you know what you can do? Leaving your comfort zone is one of the biggest things you can do. You cannot grow without leaving. I wouldn't have been able to do any of this that I'm doing now if I just stayed in that truck, kept my mouth shut, and just did exactly what somebody else wanted me to do. You won't know what else you can do. You might be a millionaire. You might be the very first millionaire in your family, but you won't know because you would rather do the same thing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, you're off. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, you're off. No, get out of that comfort zone. Learn something new. Go somewhere new. Try something new. Learn anything you can, because you never know what skill you learn out of your comfort zone that could take you to the next level in life.
When did that kind of click for you?
I would say that really clicked for me pretty much after the divorce, because I didn't want to be in the same place anymore. I was still in that, dark zone of, oh man, my wife left me, and, what am I going to do now? Whatever I want is the first thing that came into my head. Do what you want. Do the things you've always wanted to do. So that's when the real estate school came in. That's when I started learning more about, landscaping. That's when I started learning more. This is actually another goal of mine, is someday I actually want my pilot's license. And that right there is a comfort zone thing, because yes, I love airplanes. I am scared of heights. Okay. And people don't even, wait, you love flying. Yeah. You love getting on planes. Yeah. You're scared of heights. Shut up. So that's one of those things that sometimes you just got to do it. You just got to, that's the moment right there. Remember who you were before this happened. You were this person before it happened. you pretty much got to get over what you went through and get right back on the life.
Now, I want to ask you, is it a fear of heights or is it a fear of falling?
Falling. It's the falling part, I mean, it's nothing to get up in the air. It's that part when you're coming down that is like, ugh. That's the part you don't want to happen.
No, I think I'm the exact same way. I love to fly too. And, just a little background about me, my dad, he wanted to be a pilot when he was growing up. And it's something that I've always thought about, just being in the air, having control of that. It's also amazing, but I have this deep fear of falling too. So it is pretty funny.
It is. And people don't understand it, but it's one of those things where it's like, you want to go somewhere and the only way to get there is by plane. And it's like, okay, I really want to go, but what happens if this plane crashes? Then, but it's one of those things you got to get over some way, whether you got to take medicine for it or, some people, they get drunk before they get on the flight. However you got to do it. It's out of your comfort zone.
Now, do you think that's kind of a mantra towards life that you've taken on, is to just leave that comfort zone and just really do it?
Yes and no, because it is one of those hard things to do. Everyone thinks that it's so easy to come out here. I think the problem is people always try to make it, well, just get out of your comfort zone. Just come out of your shell. I'm an introvert and I'm shy, which are two detriments. And to do that takes a lot. Sometimes your batteries, inside of your internal batteries will just be so drained after you just do one thing. But you just got to do it because there's so much life out there. There's so many things to see, so many things to do. And you're not going to do it just doing the same thing every single day in, day out, because you're comfortable doing it. If you're comfortable, you're not growing. And if you're not growing, to me, you're dying.
I think one of the things that has really given a lot of people all over the world an opportunity to grow is the advancements within technology and social media. Mm-hmm. How's that kind of affected your life and even your career?
I would say it really affected my life because, when the whole thing called the internet first came out, you pretty much didn't know what it was. And I was really the first generation to actually have it. So I got to actually play around with a lot of technology, whether it was MySpace, well, actually way before MySpace, like the college clubs, the Black Planets. You get to learn how to actually who you can actually communicate with, because now you're not just communicating with somebody down the street or on the other side of town. You're now dealing with people from Japan. You're now talking to people from Germany. I think I had my actual first website when I was about 18 years old. And you get to communicate with so many people, but you also learn things like SEO accidentally. You learn the keywords accidentally, and, you learn how just to market yourself. And that's what social media really is, whether you're a real estate agent, you're one of these Instagram models or Instagram, seller of something. You're marketing yourself first. People don't see the product first. They see you first. They don't see the house. They see me. And when they see me, then they start learning about the house. But I have to sell to you first. And that's what technology has done is it's taken, I don't have one around me, but it's taken real estate agents out of that thick phone book that some people used to stand on so they can be like 5 inches taller in a photo or a video. And we're now in front of them online every day. All they have to do is type in real estate agent, realtor, or whatever, and we're right there in front of them. That's something technology did that, you couldn't do that 30 years ago. You can do it in 2019, and people see this next year, 2020. But I would say the biggest thing technology did for me was allow me not just in Alaska, not just in Florida, not just in Washington, but I can talk to people in Russia. I can talk to people in Japan. I can talk to people in Dubai. I can talk to people anywhere in the world about real estate where I am, and I can get clients from anywhere.
Yeah, I saw through your Instagram that the Semper Fi Home Guy has actually gone global. I saw him in a Mountie uniform, of course, alluding to Canada. How rewarding is it knowing that your brand has gone to all sorts of countries throughout the world?
It's actually scary because, well, it's not really scary. It's cool, but it is scary at the same time because it's one of those things where there's going to be people that's always going to tell you, stay local. Don't move, don't move past a certain area. But you got to do it because that's the way the market is today. It's a global market where we are now, the planet is still the same size, but we're now more connected. You are probably 3 people away from knowing the president of the United States. You're probably 3 people away from knowing the prime minister of Canada. I like his hair, by the way. He's got really good hair. I mean, so do you, but he's got really good hair. But
Thank you, Brandon.
But the thing about expanding is you don't want to expand too fast, but you don't want to expand too slowly. You don't want your competition getting somewhere before you get there, because if they get there first, that's their market. You're playing catch up. If you get there first, you got the advantage. You got home court advantage. Always take, it's like in basketball, take advantage of home court.
Do you think that fear of kind of falling behind will always creep up, at the back of your mind?
I would say yes, because I would say actually it could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing, because if you're playing from behind, you can actually see what your competition did right or didn't do right, and you can take advantage of that, because simply put, there's going to be things they did wrong. There's going to be things that they completely blundered or botched, and now you can take that knowledge and you can use it to your advantage, because now you know what didn't work for them. Like Target. Target came to Canada, it didn't work for them. So maybe the next store, maybe Fred Meyer, maybe JC. Well, I don't know if you guys have a JC Penney or not. They can come in and say, hey, let's start with 10 stores and expand, instead of coming in with 300 stores and then closing them in 5 years. So I would say that you should be a little bit afraid, but you shouldn't be a lot afraid of being behind the 8 ball.
Now with your brand, obviously your love for your hobbies such as wrestling, football, basketball, and even your landscaping, how do you balance all this?
Delicately. No, honestly, it's not really hard to balance. It's more or less just making sure all your ducks in a row in one place before you start attempting to do this, and you can't devote too much time to any of that, because the second you do, you're letting something fall through the cracks in real estate or whatever your main job or your main career is. So before you do the wrestling and landscaping and the cars and all that, make sure you got everything in real estate squared away. Make sure everyone knows where you're at. Make sure everyone knows where they stand. And then you can go off and don't try to do it all at once. Maybe on Monday I'll go out and water the lawn or, weed the lawn. Tuesday, I'll get my workout in as far as wrestling and hand-to-hand combat. Wednesday, I'll do something with cars. Thursday, God knows what, But always make sure, your main thing is taken care of first.
Now, the theory is that humans can't actually or efficiently multitask, and that we actually have to focus on that one thing to do it right. Is this kind of the message you're trying to speak with us?
No, never. Humans are resilient. We're resilient, we're learned, but we are also creatures of habit. So if we're only used to doing one thing at a time, that's all you're going to do is one thing at a time. If you can, yes, you got to know how to master one thing before you move on to something else, but there's nothing wrong. And it's like an analogy I used yesterday. I actually used this analogy on Facebook. People will tell you to focus on one thing at a time, but you also got to understand that while, that we haven't even blasted off from the earth yet, and Apollo was being planned as Mercury was being planned as well. Actually, Mercury wasn't even a thing yet, and Apollo was already being, started conceptualized, and we had drawings for how to get to the moon. So don't let anyone tell you you only have to focus on one thing. Now, there's going to be steps to get to where you want to be, but no, you don't have to just focus on one thing. Now, we can also delegate certain things out to other people. So, NASA didn't build the rocket, Rocketdyne, Boeing, McDonnell Douglas, they helped, Diacult, whatever. They built the rockets. They built the engines because NASA delegated that out. So that's what you have to also learn. Yes, master something, but also know when to delegate things out, and that can help you multitask. But there's nothing wrong with multitasking at all. I mean, if you don't multitask, you're going to be doing one thing until you master it. And what if it takes you 10 years to master that?
Now you talk a little bit about all the different hands that led to us actually trying to get to the moon, whether it was Boeing or NASA or all these different companies. There's a common theme of collaboration there. Do you think that that's where the world is headed today, through more collaboration?
I think it is. I mean, look at everything that's going on now as far as aviation, real estate. There's more collaboration now more than ever between companies that once upon a time hated each other. Lockheed and Boeing once hated each other. Now they're sending out rockets up into the sky together. Boeing and what's their name? Airbus. They're in competition, but even they do things together where Boeing makes parts for some of the A320s and Airbus makes some of the parts for the 787 and the 777. So if those two can come together and collaborate, anybody can. You got days where I think there's a day coming up where Burger King is going to shut down because McDonald's is having something for cancer and they want them to get all the money. Who two people hate each other more than Burger King and McDonald's? Nobody, well, Wendy's, but that's about it. So I think honestly, in the next 20 years, in my lifetime, I think you're going to have more collaboration in every aspect of business than ever.
As far as current events go, are you aware of the current trade war between US and China?
Yes.
Do you think those two can settle their differences?
No comment. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I think they could be. Cooler heads do prevail, but I'm going to say I don't know.
I guess only time will tell, right?
Yeah, I think it will, but I think it's going to have to be, I won't say two new leaders. I'm not for or against either one, but I would say it would be cooler heads that will prevail.
Now, Brandon, you call yourself a real estate concierge. Mm-hmm. What do you think makes a good real estate concierge?
I would say making a good one is, there's a term that's always tossed around in real estate. It's called neighborhood expert. And to me, that's all a real estate concierge is a neighborhood expert. And I think the misconception is being a neighborhood expert, all you know is home prices, what this home sold for, what that home sold for, what the interest rate is. I don't call that a neighborhood expert. What I think of as a neighborhood expert is if you ask me right now, Brandon, what's the best burger place in Anchorage? And I could just simply tell you, hey, Lucky Wishbone is the best. Or where's the best coffee in Anchorage? Kaladi Brothers on 6th Street and G Avenue. No, 6th Avenue and G Street. That's the best coffee in Anchorage. What's the best school? Northern Lights. What's the best school for football? Sodatna High. And I just want to say congratulations to those guys. They actually just won their 8th straight championship. So way to go. That's a neighborhood expert. Neighborhood experts know, they know all the trades. So if you need an AC 3 months after you move in, they can, get you somebody. If you want to know where to get the best deal on paint or a painter or electric, an electrician, that's what a neighborhood expert or a real estate concierge should know. When they say I'm a neighborhood expert, but they can't tell you this, if anyone ever calls himself a neighborhood expert and they tell you the best burger in town is McDonald's, walk away. Because if they say McDonald's has good burgers, they don't deserve your business. Trust me.
Do you think that kind of comes from just, trying to understand the neighborhood, whether it's going to these local restaurants or interacting with the people through local events, or what's the best way of actually, becoming an expert?
Put your feet on the pavement is the best way of learning your neighborhood. You got to know the neighborhood. If you're going to say that you're an expert in the neighborhood, you actually have to be in the neighborhood. People actually know who you are. They actually have to say, I know him. They got to walk up to you, hey, Brandon, how you doing? Or hey, such and such, how you're doing? Or when you walk into a restaurant, they should know you. They should know exactly who you are. The bartender or the waiter or the waitress or the server or the cooks, like the local Kaladi brothers, they know who I am. Hey, Brandon, how are you? Some of them know me as Semper Fi Home Guy because every shirt I have is Semper Fi Home Guy. So they know me by the shirt. They know me by the face. When I go to 49th State Brewery, which is just a couple blocks away, they know who I am because I'm in there. I bring clients in. So being a neighborhood expert, you actually have to know the neighborhood. And the only way to know the neighborhood is to actually walk around, get your walks in there, let everyone know who you are. You are this person. You're a realtor, you're a real estate agent, you're a concierge, whatever you want to call yourself. Because I had a guy call himself a client champion, and I hope he succeeds. Actually, he is succeeding with that. So congratulations. But the best way to know any neighborhood is to actually go into it.
Now, we've talked quite a bit about your career as a real estate agent. Mm-hmm. What do you think are the main takeaways?
The main takeaways, as I would say, the biggest takeaway is be personable. Always be personable. Be yourself. Be genuine. I would say that is the biggest part of being a realtor, because there's a part of your brain that can smell BS from a mile away. If you're just saying the same thing that this other guy said or that other guy said, or you're trying to be, what people see on TV, they watch Flip or Flop, or if you're trying to be, Chip and Joanna Gaines, people can tell that you're being fake. If you just be yourself, which people can tell, I am being myself, I am who I am, that clicks with them. Some people ain't gonna like it. That's just who we are today. Some people don't like it. Some people do. But always put your professional foot forward. That's another thing. Be yourself. Be cool under pressure. Biggest thing, never show anyone your weakness. Never show anyone that you're scared, you're timid, you're hurt, you're tired, because people will use that to their advantage. Never let anyone, especially another agent, know your weakness, because they will use that weakness against you any way they can to get your client.
Heading into the last segment of our interview here is something we like to call the fun stuff. Now, we'd love to learn a little bit more about your city. So if you would like to tell us What are your favorite things about Juneau?
Actually, I'm from Anchorage, not from Juneau.
Oh,
I do work my brokerage is in Juneau, but I actually live in Anchorage.
I see. So what are your favorite restaurants there? What are some great views? What are the best places to go to?
I would say that my favorite restaurants would be between the Smokehouse Barbecue. They're pretty good. They call themselves Texas barbecue, but you're here in Alaska. You're Alaskan barbecue. Pucker Wilson's is another one. They're in Juneau. They make some of the best burgers. Everyone is talking about the fried chicken sandwich between Popeyes and Chick-fil-A. No, Pucker Wilson's has the best chicken sandwich. They got the best fried chicken sandwich. If you ain't never had it, get on the plane. I know you're scared of heights. Come try it. 49th State Brewery is another one. Their steak is amazing. Glacier Ice House is a good bar. They also serve food, but they're a good bar. Some of the best things to do here is actually just explore. That's the thing about Alaska people don't understand, is that it's not what people think it is. People watch, Alaskan bush people and stuff like that, and they think that's what Alaska is. There is so much more to do than just go into the woods and try to, build a cabin for 9 years that still isn't finished yet. By the way, Alaska bush people aren't from Alaska, so make of that what you will. But, whether it's sightseeing, you can zip line Denali, you can go on boat tours of the Kenai Peninsula. There is so much to do. If you like to fish, you can hunt, you can drive the Dalton Highway. You can, every February and March, we have a thing called Fur Rondi. This is actually going to be my first Fur Rondi, which is like a winter festival, but this is going to be my second Iditarod. So the dog race. It's just so much to do in Alaska that if you can't find something to do, maybe you're not looking hard enough.
Now, I also wanted to ask you, what are the attitudes of the different neighborhoods?
More or less, it's one of those things where we're all stuck here together. So you got a couple of people who got the worst attitudes ever. But for the most part, it's a funny thing where everyone is so nice. Everyone is so tolerable. Everyone is willing to help the next man out. As long as they see your intentions are good, they are willing, especially me. When I first got up, it wasn't people looking at me like, who's this guy? It's, oh, hey, I'm this person. How you doing? What are you doing up here? Oh, okay, well, come by anytime, or here's my number. Call me whenever you need something, or you need to learn, this, that, or the other, or if you want a good place to go see the Northern Lights, here, give me a call. We'll go out together. Like, they don't do that in Florida. In Florida, it's get off my lawn, so it was just one of those things that you just have to say, wow, and it's even funnier because, the political climate we're in today where, you got these people who hate these people. No, here, yeah, you got a couple of those people, but for the most part, everyone is just so friendly.
Alaskans sound a lot like Canadians.
No, Canadians sound a lot like Alaskans.
There you go. I like the sound of that one better too. Now, if you were in charge for a day, whether it was your city or it was Alaska as a whole, what would you change?
If I could change anything for one day, just one day, that's all I get is one day.
All you get.
I think it would be more or less something where, man, that's actually a deep question. I don't even know what I would change for a day. I don't think there's anything I could change, because I think if I changed anything for a day, it would throw off the balance of everything. It's like that theory where if you go back in time and you kill your grandfather, it changes everything about the world. I don't think I could change anything, but I think I would make an additional day where we honor veterans and first responders. Maybe it's like that day, besides Veterans Day, they could just go eat for free in my city. If I'm the mayor of Anchorage, on that day, if you are a firefighter, a cop, a realtor, because, you know, our lives matter too, you can eat for free in any restaurant you want up to like $100. Don't eat the whole $100 in one place, but that would be probably my biggest change I would make just for that one day.
So it'd be just a day to celebrate and kick back.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, sounds like a good day. I might have to join you guys.
You know, you could just move to Alaska. I mean, you know, Canada is almost the same thing anyway.
It pretty much is, right? From the weather, the nice people. I'm sure you guys have maple syrup, so.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Now, just entering the last part of the fun stuff, some overarching trends that we'd like to kind of pick your brain on. I wanted to ask you, are you an iPhone or an Android guy?
I am a twin Android guy. You know, I got my Note 9 and I got my Moto Super 5. And I love them. You know, I hear people say that iPhone is better and iPhone is this. I don't want to take a 30-year mortgage out on the phone. I'm sorry. I can't do it. You know, I don't know. Look, I don't know how people do it because it's like, oh, look, I got this iPhone. This iPhone is so cool. Yes, your iPhone is cool, but number one, your iPhone is cracked, okay? Get a new screen if you have an iPhone. Number two thing is, you know, yes, it's a nice phone. It really is. It costs what, $38,000? You know, an arm and a leg, you know, your first child. Look, I'm a good realtor. I'm not that good of a realtor. I don't have that kind of money. So if you can afford an iPhone, you can afford a house, okay? That's all I say. But if you can afford a house and an iPhone, you can afford to get your screen fixed. So please, if you got an iPhone and your screen is cracked, just fix it, please.
It's kind of like the people with BMWs, right? Some of them can't afford like an oil change or just to fix their bumper or something, but they're still driving a BMW.
Yeah, and I really don't get it because it's like, if you can afford it, just go ahead and fix it. I mean, yes, your part costs like $3,000, but that's why you should have bought a Chevy or a Ford. The same part costs what, $3?
Exactly. Now, you've given us a couple of recommendations of some very good restaurants by the sounds of it in Alaska. Whether it's a burger place, or a steakhouse, or the best chicken sandwich in the US. What do you think of the wave of the Beyond Meat burger and plant-based food products?
You know what? It's actually funny because this past weekend, I actually just tried the Impossible Whopper. You know what? Here's the thing. If you eat it on the bun with all the stuff that comes with it, the Impossible Whopper is not exactly there yet, but it's close. If you try that patty by itself, it is the most disgusting thing you will ever put in your mouth, ever. No, not ever, because I also tried Burger King tacos. That is the most disgusting thing you will ever put in your mouth in your life. Don't ever do it. If anybody tells you to do it, kick them out your life. You don't need that kind of negativity. But I've tried Impossible. I haven't tried Beyond yet. I've tried the vegan patties where it's like the black bean and, you know, whatever it is. You know, as a matter of fact, my sister actually just took me out not too long ago for my first vegan meal, which I think I have her beat because I love oatmeal and oatmeal is vegan. So guess what? Ha, sis, I got you beat. But, you know, I'm looking forward to trying Beyond, and I think there's another one that's coming out soon that's not Impossible, but it's something else. And I'm looking forward to just, you know, buying all three of them in the store and trying them out for myself because I'm a meat eater. I love, you know, look, I love my burgers. We don't have a steak and shake here, but I love steak and shake. But I'm willing to give it a try. If, you know, anything that can make me a little bit healthy, like just that much healthier, I'm down to try it.
Do you think it's where we're headed with food, or do you think it's just a fad?
I'm going to say that I hope it is kind of where we're going. I mean, I'm not giving up meat, but, you know, for people who want to give up meat, but they want the same taste, I think beyond is the burger that still bleeds, even though it's vegan, it still bleeds. If I'm wrong, somebody correct me. But I think we are going to start having more, vegan alternatives to things like burgers and oxtail. I know we got alternative vegan chicken. So I think this is going to be one of those rabbit holes that we should explore.
What are your thoughts on Elon Musk's business ventures, from Tesla to wanting to go into space, digging underground? Do you think he's on a path towards this global takeover, or do you think he's just a man with a lot of ideas?
Elon Musk is Batman. I swear that man is Batman, because I don't know anyone else that comes up with the cool stuff he does, whether it's SpaceX or, a self-driving car, or, he's got this company that they make this flamethrower. And you know what? I want one of those flamethrowers, because that can make my life just so much better. You walk into a meeting and somebody say something stupid, and you just hit them with the flamethrower like, nah, I wouldn't do that. But honestly, I think that what he's trying to do is he's trying to take maybe $100,000 worth of technology and make it affordable for the common person. Me and you, who can't afford a $300,000 self-driving car. Okay, I'm going to sell it to you for $87,000. And at some point, he's going to make it, I think he's trying to make a truck now that's 50 grand. Okay, I mean, is brand new. But the thing is, I think he's still got some things he's got to really work on. Like, for example, the technology, because yeah, you can make a self-driving car, but here's the question. Let's say the car goes out of control or somebody walks in front of the car. What do? Do you run into a building? Do you run that person over? Do you run into another vehicle? I think there's ways to go. SpaceX, I know he wants to be on Mars by 2024. Now, this is a part of me that I love, space exploration. To me, I see what he's trying to do. I see where he's trying to go. But you also got to remember, you got to make some money doing this. So if you're not making any money, he might be the smartest guy in the world, but he's going to be a broke guy trying to do it. So I think once he perfects it and he can get the masses in on it, or he can perfect it where everyone can afford it, I think Elon Musk might be the first trillionaire in history.
I think after we first got to the moon, there were talks of eventually building hotels and houses on it. Do you think that this is an avenue that he can explore once he actually gets to Mars?
I think if he gets to Mars and he wants to start selling property, he needs to call me. I think that's what he needs to do, because Semper Fi Home Guy could be the very first. I could be the best realtor on Mars. I could be the best realtor on Jupiter. I mean, I think Earth, other people kind of got that locked down already. But, on Mars, yeah, I could be the man, No, honestly, I could see, interstellar real estate being a thing probably in the year 3,000, 4,000, depending on how technology progresses. If we can do it, I think it'd be a great thing. Of course, we got to terraform a planet. We can't just go there and just, live in suits all the time. How are you going to use the bathroom? How are you going to eat? But I would say it'll probably be a process, but can it be a thing where we can live on Mars, where we can live on Pluto, where we can we terraform Venus? I say yes. It's going to be a process of hundreds of thousands of millions of years, but can I see it happening? Yes. Will it happen before we get hit by another asteroid? Who knows? But it can happen.
Do you enjoy space exploration movies as well?
Depends on what the movie is. If it's something just like completely out there, but then again, Star Wars was completely out there. Star Trek was completely out there. And some of the things that they do in those movies, we're starting to do now. So I would say, yes.
What's your take on something like Interstellar? I know it's quite difficult to grasp with the fifth dimension and all that, but.
Actually, I don't think I've seen Interstellar yet.
I'd recommend it. It's It's one of those movies that really make you think.
Mhm.
At the end of it, you kind of feel like an astrophysicist, but you have no qualifications. So,
Okay, then since you recommend it, is it on Netflix?
I believe sometimes, Netflix is always changing their videos and movies, so you never know. But I definitely recommend it.
Okay, then if you recommend it, Interstellar is going to be watched this weekend.
You gotta do it, and then hit me up and we can talk about it.
Definitely.
Yeah. Now, kind of just to segue into our last question here. Have you heard about or seen the new Joker movie?
Yes, I've heard about it.
Do you plan on seeing it, or are those types of movies something you don't watch?
Actually, I do plan on watching it. I think I'm going to go see it maybe next weekend. I think.
Now, you call Elon Musk Batman, right? And of course, he has all these capabilities of Bruce Wayne with the wealth and all this technology. Is that something that you've enjoyed in the past as well, like whether it was comics or superheroes?
I would say yes. I enjoyed Aquaman. Of course, Spider-Man. Spider-Man is my guy. I love him. There's another one. I'm a Robin fan. I don't like Batman. I like Robin. I like the other guy, not him. But the funny thing about, things like Batman, for example, is I think as a kid, we all want to be Batman. But as we get older, you kind of start to see the Joker's point of view just a little bit more than Batman. And you're just like, you know what? Just get him. I just hope you do something to Batman, because you start to understand that he's not really a bad guy. He's just been through a lot. And you can start to kind of understand his reasoning. And I think his reasoning could be good, but it could also be bad, depending on your take of, how you take it. Me, I root for the Joker. I root for the Penguin. I root for the Riddler. As a kid, Batman, get him. Now it's like, yeah, I hope they throw you off something you ain't got your belt on. That's just my take on that.
I don't want to assume, but I think it's going to be safe to say that you'll enjoy the Joker movie then, because they really do make him into this icon that, you can't help but root for.
Well, the question is, how much of this Joker is much like the Heath Ledger or Jack Nicklaus Joker? How much is that?
Now, I'm a big Christopher Nolan fan, the director of the Dark Knight trilogy. Mm-hmm. Dark Knight's actually one of my favorite movies. I don't think it comes close to Heath Ledger, but I am biased, of course. It is an origin story with the Joker, so they go back to its roots, right? So it is very different, but it is still very good.
Okay, well, since you recommended it, I'm going to go ahead and check it out then. I'm going to see if one of my friends wants to see it.
Recommendations for you. Do you have any for me?
Movie recommendations?
Any sort of recommendation.
You know what? I'm going to tell you, my recommendation is next Wednesday, or unless you got In Demand, I want you to watch USA Network, NXT, and on TNT, AEW. Both of them are wrestling. I think you're going to enjoy it because, like I said, NXT, even though it's a developmental, you're going to love it. AEW, same way. You're going to love it. Wrestling is back. If you can go on YouTube, look up a thing called NWA Power. It's kind of like that throwback to old school studio wrestling that you would see probably Saturday morning. And it was just, it's amazing. Other recommendations, Lucha Underground is great. Lucha Underground is really amazing. There's just so much amazing stuff out there now that, like I said, if you said you're a wrestling fan when you was a kid, you're going to love this.
All right, I'll watch those next week, and I'll get back to you by Friday.
All right.
All right, man, that pretty much brings an end to our interview. I really appreciate you taking the time. I learned a lot from you today. It sounds like we had some similarities, whether it was a fear of heights, a love for wrestling, or even a love for Robin, because he's actually my favorite superhero too. So.
All right.
Yeah.